League football club and being in the Premier League, the biggest thing that got me excited was the possibility of bringing success here after the club hasn't had success for a long time. And I believe I can conquer and I can achieve. You know, you ask yourself those questions. You know, for me, it wasn't about, you know, looking at the past and what's happened at the football club. It's about what's ahead for us. And what needed to happen was, if you want people to follow you, they need to believe in you. And it's always been important for me whenever I've gone into a new job is they believe in me as a person. You know, I just try to sort of be me, show the people who I am.
Moving on to the next subject, when you first caught the team here at Tottenham, maybe Tottenham was not at the best moment when you first joined. I think it's maybe a similar situation with our national team as well. We have like good quality players like you just mentioned, but maybe we just can't reach our goal for some reason, I guess. What would be your advice to the Korean national team that's maybe underperforming a little bit? And with your experiences, could you possibly give some words?
You know, you're coming in usually because whatever you've inherited or taken on hasn't been successful. So my job is to come in, and the one thing you have to try and give people is hope and belief. Yeah. First, you've got to believe you can do it. Okay. So whether that's the Korean national team or us here at Tottenham, they haven't been champions for 60 years. They haven't won a trophy in 15 years. In your mind, you go, well, how are we going to do it? You know, it's had so many great players here, so many great managers, and they haven't done it. Why are we going to do it? So the first thing is to believe you can. And I believe I didn't come to be manager of Tottenham or managing the Premier League. I came here to bring success to this football club. And it's the same for, I think, Korean football, is to really believe you can do that, that you can have success, whether that's winning an Asian Cup or having success at a World Cup. If you just think about the historical perspective and say, well, we found it really hard and we can't overcome, then you're stuck in the wrong place. You need to have your eyes firmly ahead, to have a plan, and then believe in that, because even the best plan, yeah, you can have the best plan in the world. All of you have had success in what you do, whether it's YouTube or the companies you work for. If you look at it from where it started, I'm sure you had tough times. I'm sure there were times where it didn't look like it was going to work. But through those times, you believed. Yeah, you didn't stop. You didn't say, well, actually, no, you said, no, I'm going to make this successful. You have to have that inside you. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring success to Tottenham Football Club for no other reason. And I think it has to be the same for Korean football, is to believe in that you can achieve something and invest in that. And so when the tough times come, like I said, with us, Australia in the Asian Cup, when Sonny scored in that last minute, we never lost belief that that was our tournament. That was going to be our tournament, because I convinced the players at the start that we were going to win it.
Very touching words. Belief, I think, is the key word here. Right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Since you had so much success, like both in the national team or in the club team, you've lifted trophies in both places. And there are not many of them out there that have had so much success, both in national teams and in the club team. What do you think is the biggest difference between the two, and how you manage these
they're
teams?
very different. The main difference is that you obviously don't have the day-to-day contact with the players. You know, in club football, you're constantly working at a really high level every day to try and achieve. But when you're at national team, everything you do is multiplied by 1,000 times, right? So because you're only together for a short space of time, so every training session is important. If you have a bad training session, that's a day before the next game. So you cannot do that. You can't even get one drill wrong. So you have to be really precise. So you have to be disciplined to say, well, our training session has to be perfect so that we don't miss a minute of the preparation for the game. And then you get to the game. So in club football, like I said, you have to work at a high level, especially the Premier League. But even if you lose, there's always next week. We need to improve next week to get back to where we want to. So everything when you're together is your emotions, everything you feel is at 100 times what you feel at club level. because if it's not, then it could be a disaster. So I brought that back to my club football, and now I tell the coaches, even though we're in club football every day, I want it to be perfect, because that's what you need to be at national team.
실수를 하면 안 되는군요.
Now we actually, after hearing your comments, we can feel how difficult it is being a national team manager under big pressure. Well, not to say that you're not in the club football,
No, but it's a different, absolutely.
yeah. Speaking a little bit about tactics, you seem to play a very aggressive football, take risks, play very offensively, something that maybe we might lack a little bit in Korean football. But what's your reasoning and what's your belief behind this, being so aggressive, being so offensive?
Well, it's because I love winning. I love winning, and because I love winning, I tried to sort of come up with a plan or a design of my football that will give me my best chance of success. And there's always, people who love winning, and then there's the people who hate losing. There's a protagonist and there's antagonists. So, well, you're going to be the one who says, no, I'm going to be the protagonist. I want to win this game and I'm going to overcome whatever they throw at me. I'm going to do it, but I want the ball. I want to be attacking. I want to be aggressive. And I chose to be that kind of coach. And both of them work. Okay, you can be either one. There's been very successful coaches who are more instead of being the protagonist, they're the antagonists. They're the ones who say, you know what, you'll never beat me. And they've been very successful. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I want my team to have the ball. I want to play the game in the opposition half. That's what I want to do, and that's how I want to be successful. It's never going to be about, trying to minimise the prospect of losing. Say, well, you know what, you're playing a top team and you're playing away from home. You should be a little bit more defensive, a little bit more compact. I can't do that. That's not who I am. It's not who I want to be.
Sometimes taking more risks and maybe, like you said, for example, in the national team example you gave, maybe taking that kind of risk means the end. There's no more. You're out of the World Cup. You're
Absolutely.
out of the Asian Cup.
Absolutely.
But still, you prefer to take that risk, even though it means it's the end.
Absolutely, because the alternative could be the end too. But I'd rather it be the end my way than not my way. I can live with that, because then I'll walk away and try and improve my way. And to play, like you said, the football we want, there is risk involved. But, like I said, it's who I am, it's who I'll be till I finish coaching.
약간 축제 같은 축구를 하시는 것 같아요. 축제는 승패가 없잖아요. 그러니까 축구를 보고 있으면 언제나 좀 보는 사람 입장에서 즐거워지는 그런 축구를 하시는 것 같아요.
Because when we were kids, when we were 9 or 10 years old, no one was telling us about tactics and sitting behind the ball or risks. They just said, go play. And we'd be outside playing and we'd do every trick in the book and try and score goals. And that's what we love about the game. So I want to try and bring that to the level I am now, understanding that it's not easy. But if you can somehow capture that where it's not just successful, but it's also the football we played as kids and enjoyed, then you've got something really special.
좀 미안하지만 손흥민 때문에 토트넘 경기를 우리는 봐야 돼요. 예? 그죠? 근데 이전 감독이 있었을 때는 보면서 손흥민 때 보지만 좀 지루하다 라는 거는 진짜 팩트였습니다. 진짜. 지던 이기던 본다. 왜? 재밌어서. 꼭 손흥민이 아니더라도 이 토트넘 경기가 재밌어서 보는 팬들이 실제적으로 한국에 많이 있습니다. 네.
Thank you. And, again, I know growing up in Australia where you have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the last thing you want is a boring game, because then you'll just fall asleep again. So if I can keep you awake in the middle of the night, then I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's very fun to watch, but I feel like wouldn't there be times when your philosophy, you feel like it's being tested? Like, for example, Champions League final, you're winning by 1-0, and it's like 80th minute or 75th minute. You would feel like you want to pull the lines back, no?
No, because I think if you paint that scenario, I think probably the reason we're winning 1-0 in the Champions League final is because of our football. And for me, that's always been the biggest test, because it always gets challenged. Always, it's getting challenged this year. We've had some bad results over the course of the year where people say, well, you know what, why don't you change? But the reason I want us to play the football we want to play is to get us to a certain point. So at no stage in my mind do I ever think, well, you know what, because of such a big prize or because we're getting tested, we need to change. This is the road ahead for us.
Very impressive.
Going back to your experience as a manager of the national team and being a manager of club team, we have one question as well. What would you choose? Would you rather win the World Cup or Champions League?
I want to do it all.
Do it all.
I want to do it all, you know, and maybe that's an impossible dream, but 10 years ago that you know, a boy who grew up in Australia would be coaching the Premier League, they'd probably say that was a crazy dream as well. So I want to do it all. Whatever's in front of me, that's what I want to win. And one day when I'm finished, we'll see. We'll see where that takes us.
I can't wait to see that. It's coming.
Should come soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're born again, let's say you're born again, would you rather be the most successful football player or the most successful manager?
Oh, manager. Yeah,
Manager?
Yeah. I've always, that was always my my dream, my goal was to be a top manager. I love playing. I love playing football, but as I said, I love the game, and whenever I read about the game, you know, some of the most influential people, the ones who had the biggest impact on football or on clubs were managers, and for me, that was always the dream. It was always to be a top manager.
So you started off as a player.
Yeah.
You were the captain of your team, and then carried on started a managerial career.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other great managers also started as a player and captain. Xavi Alonso, for example, he was the captain. When you see the players in your team, can you tell, like, oh, that guy is going to be a great manager one day?
No, it's not that. Yeah, it's hard to say sometimes because it takes all different types. So, you know, I said, Xavi Alonso is an unbelievable player, and he's actually transferred into now becoming a very good manager who started his career really well. You got Mikel Arteta or Pep. But then you have others like Jose and who didn't have top careers and they become top managers. So you just don't know, because sometimes players think that becoming a coach is like just an extension of being a player, but it's not. It's very, very different. It's a very different. It's totally a different existence to being a player to being a coach. As a coach, as a player, you kind of worry about yourself and you look after yourself. As a manager, it's just different. It's not. I don't think it's an exact science. I don't think you can say if you're a good player you'll be a top manager, or if you're not a good one. I think it takes a different type of character, personality, and you don't see that till they actually start the coaching process.
Speaking about manager, what are some values that you must have to become a successful manager?
I think one of the things is to have your own strong values, something you believe in that will never change. You want to do something and you feel passionately, but there are so many forces trying to pull you away from that. And unless you know yourself what's important, what values are important to you, being respectful, ambitious in what you want to do, being brave in what you want to do, those things haven't changed. The way we train changes, the way we maybe play a little bit changes, but those values are with me all the time, that I respect what I do, I respect the people I do it with, I respect the game, I respect the opponents. Those things will never change. And it's important, you need to know those about yourself before you start.
단단한 심지가 느껴집니다.
네.
진짜.
You have faith in what you do. You feel like a strong person.
We all feel it.
What is your goal for next season?
With Tottenham, like I said, I'm here to bring success to the club. That means win things, You can't give a timeline and say it's going to happen in year 2 or year 3 or year 4. You can't do that because football changes, you have opponents. But what I want is to have this team stronger than it was this year, play football that's more exciting and brings trophies. And that's the way I start every year of my career, and that's why I'll start next year.
How do you want to be remembered by the football fans by the time you retire? What kind of manager do you want to be seen as?
Well, hopefully just someone who, like I said, as you said before, his teams were exciting to watch. You know, they were teams that people look forward to watching. You know, again, when you look through the history of time, there's been a lot of teams that have been successful, a lot of managers that have been successful, but you remember some more than others because of maybe they did things a little bit differently. And hopefully by the end of the time I finish, which hopefully is still a few years away, yeah, people will remember me because I did things a little bit differently.
It's already getting to an end, this interview. We've enjoyed it so much, we didn't
Same
know
here.
time flies. Yeah.
I've enjoyed it as well.
But some last words for the Korean fans that are always supporting you, or what you want to say to them?
Just, you know, I love their passion and I understand it maybe more than a lot of people do over here because it was my life of living on the other side of the world and being so far away from something that you feel so strongly about, but it didn't matter that it was so far away, you were totally invested in it, and I appreciate that. And you know, I appreciate that as a football person, but I appreciate that as a person, you know. And you know, I love the way the game makes people feel, and I see that in the Korean fans. You know, like I said, for here, obviously for Sonny, but also I see it for Tottenham as well, and I see it for the Premier League, and I see it for football. And for me, that's the most important thing. They love football, and you know, I'm forever grateful for that.
Thank you so much.
그리고 저희가 또 선물이 있어서.
Oh yeah, we have prepared a small gift for you.
Oh, thank you. Actually, before you do that, I have one question for you four as well, okay? Which is the real Ange? Angry Ange? Smiling Ange? Very good, thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, we would like to give you, as a compliment, as a gift, top manager in Korean. A direct translation is like top general. So we've decided to make a portrait of you, a Korean general.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Big general.
That's fantastic. That's the real Ange.
That represents
Big Ange.
you.
Yeah, that's it. I love that. That'll go up in my office for sure. That's fantastic. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
You're a champion. Thank you.
Thank you.
very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I love this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you so
it.
much.
아, 땡큐.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
이거 대장 한번 해.
내 컴퓨터가 좀 다르다. 부회장님!
안녕하세요.
우리 포 감독님 잘 만나고 왔습니다. 두 분 만났으니까 이제 갈 수 있는 거죠?
이제
공항 지금 다 쌌는데.
뿌듯합니다. 할 거 다 한 것 같습니다.
아 벌써 짐을 다 싸셨어요?
네. 이제 가야죠.
그러면 안 되는데? 제가 그 한사모 엄청 조직이 엄청 크다 그랬잖아요.
네.
그 사이에 또 그 한사모 회원분들과 또 연락을 또 드리긴 했거든요. 이번에는
네.
리버풀로 또 가시면 됩니다.
리버풀이요?
네.
리버풀이면 클럽까지?
아 그 록평은 한창 시즌 중이어가지고
네.
리버풀 이스탄불의 기적.
대복사?